Hi, everyone. Nice to see all these beautiful faces. I know some of you have been working at home, and I love seeing what you're working on, whether it's pencil, watercolor, pastels. Just keep sending me what you're working on. If you have any questions, let me know. So what we're doing today is we are using watercolors. So whether you've used watercolors before, or it's your first time, or you're rusty, there's kind of something for everyone. I was just talking to, I think, Sharon, and regarding the images that we're sending out before class, I really think the best way to use them is on a device. They will be clearer. You don't have to print them out, and that way also you can zoom in or out to get the details that you want. I just think, given the circumstances, it's probably the best thing to do. So I'm going to show you what I have here, how my setup is working. Ideally, I would be working on watercolors kind of on a table where I would be flat. It was kind of hard to set that up, and I think this having it upright will just give you a better visual. So just keep that in mind, that unless you're detailing or doing finalizing, you really don't want it to be upright because the paint will run down. So what I have are my set of watercolors. If you're wanting to buy watercolors, honestly, the brand doesn't make that much of a difference unless you're doing something very delicate like portraits. Any brand will do. I mean, if they're $2, I would get suspicious, but anything that's kind of within the $8 range should work. The ones I use, they're called Sennelier. They are a French company. They're professional. I only bought these when I felt that I was very deserving of them, and I was starting to actually make money off my watercolor portraits. And I like using pans, which is the squares or the ovals, rather than a tube. I just feel that there's less waste that way, and I can kind of just pick it up faster. For me, it works better. That's my preference. So the next thing we're going to talk about a little bit are brushes. So with watercolor brushes, you want to make sure that they are made for watercolor. The way you will know is that it's going to have kind of softer bristles. So I'm going to kind of try to hold up some bigger ones so you can see the difference. So there's two types. Some of you know this, but there's a flat brush, and the way you know it's flat is that it has like a pinch, so the bristles kind of lay flat, and then there's the round, which is kind of rounded all around. So the main difference between the two is that the round brush will hold more water because it's like a mop, and the flat one will give you kind of more even painting, and it's great if you're doing big strokes, or you're starting off a landscape or something like that. I tend to be more of a flat user. For me, it gives me better control, but either one is fine. And in the email we sent out, I just said, large, medium, small. It really, I have a lot of different ones. There's some that are, when you get fancy, there's ones that have an angle. These are great for roses, and I know how much you love painting roses. And then there's the fan brush for some effects. So, it just depends how much watercolor you're going to be doing. But for now, starting with the brush that's in the set, it's not great, but it will do. And having kind of a larger brush, and I really like these really little ones. Those of you that have been in class with me, this brush. It's very fine point, and I like that it has kind of a heavy handle, because those little brushes, I tend to lose them all the time. So this one's done. Okay, here it is. It just gives you a reminder. The other thing I like to do is I put two small waters, and that way, if I'm using dark colors, I will clean my brushes in that and keep that one clear. It also just is less going back and forth to filling water. Of course, paper towels. If you get, you know, a drip or something, you can blotch. You want to do that gently. We will be talking about that. And what else? And over here, I have just a scrap piece of paper to try out my colors. That's always a good idea to have that. And because some of the colors are dark, and you know, you might be mixing them and then realize that you have a totally different color. So just before you put it on your painting, just kind of give it a little try. Or sometimes if you're trying to get to a specific color that you want. I chose the sunflower because I think they make everyone happy. They're beautiful. I was actually at H-E-B yesterday trying to find an actual sunflower to kind of show you, but we did not have them. So the picture is going to do. And also we can't help but, you know, think of Van Gogh when working on sunflowers. I think to me personally, what makes his sunflowers so important is that remember, this is a very long time ago, he gave the flower personality. He gave it emotion, and you can see from the different compilations that he's done, they are, you know, some of them almost look like they're sad, some of them look like they're sleepy, like they're happy. I feel that they all have different emotions. So his work is always a wonderful reference because it'll also help you kind of loosen up your lines and just kind of take the color and the shapes a little bit further. So his work on sunflowers, of course, is, you know, a classic reference. So the first thing we're going to do, and if you haven't been working with your watercolors for a while, is take a brush and just dip it in the water and kind of just sprinkle your watercolors. Just like give them a little sprinkle, like right on the box. You can do that right now. If you're joining for the first time, well, this is only our second session, I'm kind of doing this class like a paint along, so that way, you know, you see the steps, you work on them, and we can immediately address if something needs to be explained, or if you have, you know, any questions or want to do things a certain way. So again, just a few droplets just to get them going. And remember, when you're using watercolor, that your main component is water. And this is what a lot of people starting out with watercolors do. They just kind of go a little bit heavy on the color. Watercolors are transparent, translucent, and you want to avoid them being opaque. If you can't see through them, that's when you know you're kind of going a little bit too heavy on the color. I would say it's better to go lighter at first. You can always darken it, and in the end, watercolors should have kind of that light, airy feel to them. You can create strength and a bold component by, you know, using a stronger line or later on using ink or something. But overall, your work, as you layer, it should be light and it should be transparent. Okay, so I'm going to start. The first thing I'm looking at is I'm looking at the, let me see, I need to just go back to see where I am so I can see what I'm painting. Oops. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so I'm looking at the sunflower. The first thing I want to keep in mind is that I'm working with a shape that is round when you're looking at it straight on, but in this image, it's kind of at an angle. So you're getting more of an oval. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to put down that oval, and I also want to decide where it's going to be. The leaves are beautiful, but our main focus is going to be the flower itself. The stem, to me, I mean, this is a photograph. To me, the stem looks a little straight, I'm kind of gonna do a little Van Goghing on it, and I'm gonna kind of just make it a little bit more wavy. And this is kind of fun because you can play around with, you know, having the sunflower to the side and have maybe your stem kind of curve around. You know, when you have a reference, you don't have to stick to the picture. You know, you want to make it your own. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a yellow. Typically in your set, you will have a yellow. I hardly ever use a color straight on. I will always try to temper it a little bit, and tempering a color means, you know, just changing the value of it to give it a little bit more interest. Some colors in a set might have a little bit more of an artificial look to them. Like greens, for example, they usually need a lot of work. You need to add a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, just to make them look realistic and kind of just more natural. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to wet my brush, and I am going, there's kind of a golden yellow, and I'm going to put it first here so you can kind of see that color. It's almost like a mustard. If you have a bright yellow, like this lemon yellow over here, you can see that it's very lemony. You can just add a little bit of orange to it. And I use the side, these panels here, they're great for mixing a color. And remember, when you are making a color, you don't have to match it exactly. Actually, you don't want to do that, and that way you're going to get more of a range of different tones. So let's just find a yellow that's not too lemony, not too orange. So if you can create that, and make sure you like it, try it out first. And then I'm using the round brush for that because I kind of want it to cover a little bit of the surface. So I can see the angle of this oval. And I'm just putting a light trace of where it's going to be. So this is light enough if my petals are going to exceed it, or if I want to make it a little bit smaller or larger, it's still workable. It's not too dark. In the demos, I'm always going a little bit darker because I want you to see what I'm doing. But ideally, it really should be just enough to where you can see it. So the next thing I'm going to do, so remember, in the beginning, it's not going to look like anything. Everything is broken down into shapes. So what we're doing is we're just working on the shapes. So now I just talked a little bit about green. I mean, even in this beautiful, expensive set, all my greens need work because they look very artificial. So I'm going to take this, there's a light green, okay, this one over here, but you can use any green that's in there. And I'm trying it out on the side. I'm gonna take a touch of brown, just a touch with the tip of my brush. And what I'm getting now is almost more like an olive color, which is a lot more natural, and sunflowers have a lot of that color. So I'm gonna go back to that, and I am going to just leave a little bit of space between the oval and the stem, just in case I want my petals to come out a little bit more. And I'm just gonna give it like a nice, you know, kind of like a loose S shape. You still have some of that green that you just made. You can take that and place the leaves. And, you know, some of the leaves are flipped over. Some of them are facing you. The best way to do these accurately is to really look at the space that's around them. For example, like this one up here that kind of, you see the underside of it, then the top. If you look at where it separates and follow those lines, see, you can see a little bit of it here. And then you go back up. And of course, at first, I'm gonna eliminate this leaf that's in the back here. I just feel that it's too crowded. And I'm just gonna add this little one over here. So you can pick and choose which leaves you're going to put. And I like these little ones up here. I think I need a little bit more green. Again, I'm going to a green, the light or the dark, it doesn't matter. And take a little bit of brown and just work it in until you get something that looks like an olive. And see, this one is a little bit different, and that's totally fine, because that way I'm getting, again, I'm just leaving a little bit of space between my oval, which is gonna hold the petals, in the center, and I'm putting in, and let's see, I'm gonna give the stem just a little bit of thickness. And one way to know when it's time to put more paint on your brush is if your brush starts making noise, like it sounds like it's thirsty, shh. You can feel it rubbing on the paper, that means it's thirsty and it needs more water. So maybe if I could take a look at everyone's start, if you want. Melissa, can we open the dialogue? All right, awesome. Very cool. Let me see who else is here. Oh, hi, Mommy. I can't hear them, Melissa. They're muted.
You want me to unmute everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
And if we could just pause to sing a quick happy birthday to my mom, Jerry. Her birthday was 2 days ago, and we celebrated in quarantine style. We had some food and wine, and it was great. So everybody join me in a little happy birthday. Of course, she's loving it right now. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Oh, I can't hear.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday to you.
God says horses. Oh my God.
I don't have a brown on my palette, Noelle.
You don't have.
I don't have a brown.
Let
I
me
have
see. Palette.
green, black, silver. What would I mix the green with?
Can you just hold up your palette so I can kind of see?
Sure. Can you see?
The palette, the
Yeah.
paint. The paints
See it?
themselves.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
I wish
What?
I had a brown, but I don't.
Not the black?
You know,
No,
I
I'm-
could go back later and get a brown and then just do the stem.
Yeah, brown. It's just really dark. Melissa, can I go back to seeing them, because I'm trying to see Sharon's palette. Okay, Sharon, was it you with the color brown missing?
Yes, I don't have it.
The box.
No, I have a box. I have 2 boxes, and they each have a greens, blues, black, purple, but no browns.
How about red?
Okay, that's kind of strikes me as strange. You can put a little bit of purple, and that will kind of tone it down a little bit, or try a little bit of orange, maybe both. Because when you think of brown is a mix of all colors, so what you want, kind of almost want to dirty it just a little bit. Does anyone have questions so far?
Is what? Well, may I
Yeah.
speak?
Yes.
I can't see the flower. Maybe I came in late. I had a very difficult time connecting, I guess, my internet. I
You want me
can't
to share the screen again?
wait. Yeah, can you, I mean, how can I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you capture that?
So was it not in your email, Mom?
Was it not what?
Yeah.
Email? No, I received nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I received nothing either.
Oh, your name on the email.
No, I did not receive anything via email at all, and I had a very difficult time connecting today, and that's not your fault, but I think my
Did you check your spam? Because mine was in my spam.
I
Oh, what?
received nothing either.
Okay, I'll check. I will check.
That's Edie. I haven't
so,
received nothing.
Okay, so we'll go back to the demo.
Here, you put a chat. I have received nothing. Wait,
Well, I got a brown. I got a brown mixing the green, purple, and orange together.
I mean, you will know when you see it if it looks right. What you're doing is you're just slightly altering that color so it has a little bit more of a natural green to it.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's all good.
Okay, so can I see her?
Yeah.
Michelle, I'm sorry.
Melissa,
See that, babe.
Yes,
go back to the demo.
just the picture or with the one with you in it?
Well, I want them to.
Let's see her.
I got,
Okay. All right. So now we're going to start putting in our colors. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the center, and in the picture you can see that it's kind of almost like a rusty, rusty brown. It's not even color all the way around, so I'm going to keep it a little bit light so I can manipulate some of those colors. So again, I'm taking my round brush and I'm going to go to the brown and take a good quantity of it. And then I'm going to put a touch of red. I'm going to take some of the red just with the tip of my brush.
I cannot even see which one is brown.
Okay. I'm going to try out that color. So I'm getting kind of like a rusty color. And I am going to work putting in the oval. So the shape of the oval of the center is going to follow the lines of the oval that you put in. Make sure they're both in the same orientation, because if you don't, it's going to look like a cube. So I'm putting in my oval. I'm just going to fill it in. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to clean my brush. Make sure you clean your brush really well between colors. And I'm going to go and put it. Now, first drawing for any flower, you want to think of the petals collectively. Think of the shape they're making all together. It's very distracting and also frustrating to try to do each petal at first. And also the one thing I was going to mention is that when I work on watercolors, and those that have been in my class, I don't start with pencil. You can always start with pencil. It's totally up to you. But I think watercolors are so delicate that, any pencil mark, if you start light enough, you should be fine. Unless you're, totally starting with a color or winter, then the best thing would be to actually start it over. But I really feel that pencil is a very fine detail. Yes, but lightly, and you make it before you put too many layers. So I'm going to go to the yellow. And make sure you give yourself a big quantity. Again, I'm using the round brush. Get a lot. I'm going to try this yellow. So this is just a standard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the center of the sunflower, with that brown rust. And I am just going to kind of go all around and just put in my color. In that way, I'm suggesting the shape of it without doing much detail. Again, if you run out, just go and make a little bit more. I'm gonna put a little bit of brown. And again, it's even better if it's not the same exact shape. Again, not a whole lot of structure. You don't need it at this point. They don't have to be even. Take a little bit more of that yellow. And I'm gonna take just plain water and kind of just connect a little bit. Again, just plain water, just going over it, that I don't have any gaps. No paint, just water, because I don't want it to get too heavy. The next thing I'm going to do is I am going to darken the center of the oval. We started this with a brown with a little bit of red. So now we're going to do kind of just a little bit of a change in the underlying color. So this one had the brown with a little bit of red. I'm going to do brown with a touch of green to give it that coolness. Whenever you use a cool color like a blue or a purple or a green, it's going to go further into the painting, into your vision. If you use yellow or an orange, it's going to go forward. So the idea is that I want this area to kind of sink in. I know some people want to use black. There is my mother. Black is there for a reason in your palette. Use it towards the end because first of all, it's so invasive. If it touches any other color, it's going to turn it gray. And the last thing you want are any gray tones in a bright, sunflower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that brown. Again, always wet your brush first. Put a lot of water on that mop. And notice that I've been using the same brush because I'm still in the construction phase. And if you do have a dark green, take some of that, or a turquoise, or a purple, anything with a cool color. And now you see the difference between and the one that had the green in it. So I'm going to use that color, and I'm going to, again, the center is going to follow the outline of the rusty oval and the initial outline. If I pull in a different, it's going to look like it belongs to another flower, okay? So this way, everything stays cohesive. So since I have this color, when you mix a color and you, especially if you like how it looks, it's always a good idea to try to see where else can I use this color. And what I'm going to do with this color that I did, I'm going to use it to separate the petals, and I'm also going to go around the rusty oval and just kind of just doing like a rough zigzag. You see that? Just a rough zigzag. Melissa, can we mute? Okay. Got my zigzag. See that really stick out that look dark to you? Or maybe some of the,
Noelle,
yeah?
you were muted for like the last 20 or 30 seconds, so you may want to just say what you said again.
Okay. Melissa just told me that I was muted, so I'm just gonna go back to the zigzag part where I used the brown with a little bit of green and just kind of like just a little zigzag around that oval. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of just breaking it up so it looks like it's part of the petals. And then I'm going to the areas where I can see the really dark petals and I'm just putting them in. Some of the tips also have that dark, Now you can probably start seeing it taking a little bit more of a three-dimensional quality. Okay, so I'm going to work a little bit on the leaves. Clean your brush. I'm gonna take a green, a dark or a light, doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna do kind of a variety of greens. I'm gonna do some warm greens and I'm gonna do some cool greens. To make a warm green, I'm gonna take a little bit of orange. I'm kind of getting like a really nice rich olive color. And I'm gonna use that in the stem. And again, you know, there's nice little bumps that start the leaves. Make sure you do those too. And remember, it's a stem. It doesn't have to be all even or straight. I'm gonna use this color also in the tip of some of the leaves. And I'm gonna look in the sunflower and see if I can use this. And I certainly can. I'm gonna use it on some of the petals that look like they have a little bit of green on them, and in some of the tips of the petals, just the ones that are very pronounced, the ones that are really sticking out. Okay, so now I'm going to make a cooler green, which again, I'm gonna go back to the green. And this time I'm gonna add a little bit of purple. Let me see, is this my purple? And if it looks too gray, then just add a little bit more green. So this is kind of the green I'm getting. And I kind of like that. So I'm gonna put a little bit more water on my little side dish here. And I'm going to fill in my leaves. I'm gonna take just a little bit of water to kind of spread it out, just plain water. If you need to mix more, you can. Again, it doesn't have to be the exact same formula. Now here is, I kind of like this leaf because I'm really seeing the darker color kind of at the bottom. And then for the side that is coming over, I'm actually just gonna take a little bit more water on that color so I get a lighter version of it. So you can see now it's getting that almost three-dimensional coming at you kind of quality. I'm going to fill this one here. And then try to think where else can I use it. Well, what I can see is there's almost like a slight haze around the dark most inside oval. So I'm just gonna take that, and again, I'm gonna do a little just zigzag. Now, if you're more comfortable using a smaller brush for that, you can. That gives you more control. I typically try to use every color that I already have mixed here and just see where I can put it. I mean, sometimes I invent areas as well. Okay, forgot that leaf up there. Oh, there's a cute little one right up here. Okay. Okay, so that's what we have so far. So remember, to really get all the detail in this, you are going to need more than this session. the aim is that we will have kind of a completed, you know, sketchy type of watercolor painting. So you can always, you know, take this as far as you can. I just want to make sure that I cover all the different areas so you can see how they're done and what they're going to look like. Okay, so now I'm going to start separating some of the petals, and rather than working on doing lines around each petal, I'm actually going to work on the shade that is under each petal, and that way they will lift up and pop without being too strong. So I'm going to make a deeper kind of golden yellow. So I'm going to take the yellow, and I'm going to make a variety of yellows. So I have that yellow that I'm going to put a little bit of brown. And I'm going to make another one with a little bit of orange. You can see the difference between, maybe a touch more. And I am going to, it's just for fun, kind of try like a pink if we have that. This one has like a little bit more of a magenta color to it. Okay, so I have 3 different shades of yellow. And then also, if you want, you can do one kind of where you use that green and just have it have like a green tint to it. Okay. Again, clean your brush so that you have a fresh start. I'm going to move to a flat brush. Sure, I like this one. This one has an angle, which is kind of fun. And again, if your color is too intense, you can just add a little bit of water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with these shadows that are underneath here. I did put some of them in at first. Now you can instantly see the petals starting to shape. See, without having to put any lines. Almost like, look at those V's, those V shapes and what's under them. Okay, right here I'm seeing a lot of almost like red orange. I'm going to make one of my oranges a little bit more red so I can have that here. And again, if the shape is not defined, it's not clear, that's exactly how you should paint it. Attempting to make something look clear when it isn't in the source or something that is in front of you, it's going to make it, it's going to lose its accuracy in terms of how it connects with the whole picture, and it's going to just give it too much focus. I see over here, now some of them I'm going to actually work on the petal itself. Okay, and notice as they get closer to the inside oval, our rusty oval, they are getting a little bit darker. So again, I'm using that kind of orange red. Now I'm just going to go and just kind of just feather around where I see it. Up here also is an area that has a lot of that orangey red. I need a little bit more of it, so I'm gonna and again, when you're applying color, it's very important to look at your source, because you don't want to say, oh, okay, I'll just put in, you know, this orange red here and then get carried away. You know, stop where you see that it stops. Go lighter where you see it's going lighter, and you can do that by, you know, working in your stroke a little bit more, or just kind of dragging your brush, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go to my yellow that had just a little bit of brown in it. And see, for some of them, you want to keep them that light color that you started with. And those are going to be like your lightest area. Okay. So we have about 15 more minutes left. So if I can just take a quick look at everyone's work, and then I will show you how to kind of put the final touches for now on this. Melissa, can we? All right. All right. Wow, look at my sister.
Everyone's unmuted, so you can talk.
Okay.
I got a phone call and I lost the big screen, so I can't really see what's going on.
Noeda, that looks great.
Right.
Where are you, Nuit? I can't see you.
You might need to scroll it. There's a lot of people. Kina, can I see you?
Yeah, great.
Wow.
Wow, you guys.
I had a problem with mine.
So as we go further, Sherry,
You too.
No, mine doesn't look right. I don't know what I did.
you see.
It's really good.
Phyllis? Carol?
Carol's looks great.
Yeah, that's mine.
Carol's looks very good.
Yeah. Carol, maybe a little bit more. I mean, I don't know if this is screen, but Carol, maybe a little bit more orange or red, just to give it that fiery kind of aspect. Susanna, can I see yours?
Yes.
It's kind of,
Oh, you're eater. Sorry.
wow, beautiful. Phyllis? Nice. Very.
I need brown.
I wish I could change my name.
Edie, can I see yours?
Edie. No. It's me?
Mom, see yours?
No, I'm sorry, Noelle. I've been having a lot of issues here. I could not see the flower, and I never got the flower that you sent. So this is just more or less a, I've been listening and observing. I'm not painting.
I'll give you a lesson later.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Edie, that looks wonderful.
That's wonderful.
I couldn't see it, Edie. Can you show us again?
It looks really nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, I tried, but only from memory.
Oh.
Yours
Okay.
better than mine.
Oh,
I spent a lot of time trying to mix up a brown. I have to get some different colors, I think.
Okay.
I don't like the way mine looks at all.
It's you have to find the right combination.
Yeah.
Your leaves are actually really good.
Please,
They are.
will-
But I don't have petals. I just have kind of a yellow mass.
okay, well,
Oh, your leaves are really good.
but I'm gonna get to this next. Okay, so what I want you to do, I can see that most of you have a good range of greens. I think that in order for the petals to really pop, we are going to need to have a bigger range of those yellows. The thing is, with the yellow, you don't only more brown or more green or color. You also want to play around with the ratio of water to paint. Okay, and that's how you're going to get darker and lighter colors. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my small brush and I'm going to do some details. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to create a really dark color without using black. So I am going to use the dark colors that are in my palette. I'm going to take purple. I'm going to take brown. And I'm going to take some green. Okay, so if you can see this dark blob, I am getting this really nice dark color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of this at a time, and I'm going to mix it with some other colors, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take just some brown and a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to take just a drop of that really dark color and mix it in there, okay? I'm getting kind of a brownish color. Now, what I'm going to start doing is I am going to start giving these petals a little bit more shape. We put most of the shadows. Now I'm going to put in any little corners that I'm seeing. So in order for them to start looking like petals, you know, it's going to be a bit of a, you know, it's a process. You're working on the shadows, you're working on the tips. But the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to outline the entire petal. Okay. Bring in this nice big shadow over here. There you go. And now if any of them look really clear to you and they kind of stem from that, you can just pull it out. I think that was a little too dark, so we put a little bit of water. There's a shadow kind of here. I'm going to go up to this area over here. A little bit of water if you feel that a line got too strong. And whenever you put in a line or a shadow, you know, try to make sure that it flows into what you already have on the painting. See, I'm kind of feathering out the lines that I'm putting in. Okay, I'm going to go back to that really dark color, and because we don't have that much time, I'm just going to kind of show you. This is something you will probably do as you start finalizing. Just putting in that dark color, you can still mix it in with a little bit of the greens, of the yellows, depending on where you're putting it. And now for the center here, I'm going to show you something cool that you can do. I'm going to take that dark color and I'm going to add a little bit of brown to it. And I'm going to hold my brush kind of like really loosely like this. And I'm just going to do kind of like squiggles with the paint. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a lighter version of that color in the lighter area, and that's going to give me the texture that area needs. And again, this is kind of just something, you know, you can do quick. And you know, feel free to go outside the lines. I think it works even better if you do. You have it kind of trail into the yellow petals. I'm gonna kind of darken some of the areas. And again, you know, because this mix has, you know, a lot of different colors, it's kind of really working in a lot of different areas that just need that dark color. And also this subject is almost, I mean, it's not a monochrome, but you're working with closely related colors because the green does have yellow in it, and the biggest branching out is happening with maybe the orange over there. And whenever you're working on an area, make sure that you don't stay at that area too long, and just kind of give your whole painting some attention. There's a nice little dark pocket here. Again, I'm going back with my squiggle technique. And you kind of need to do it without, you know, giving it too much thought. It just will work better that way. I'm just doing almost like a little zigzag on the leaves. And there's a few that are kind of poking out. Okay, so this needs quite, you know, it needs more time and more work to push what needs to be pushed back and bring forward what needs to come forward. I think overall this center area needs to be darker. I'm just gonna brush over it with a darker color just to kind of show you that that's what it's going to need. So I'm just gonna make a quick kind of brown with a little bit of just green. And you can see that darkening it is going to just make it pop a little bit more. Okay, so you can see that darkening the center is going to make everything else pop. So remember, it's a process. It's about layering. The most important thing to remember is that it's going to look kind of ugly before it gets really pretty. So, you know, just realize that every step that you add, you are adding to the construction. And if you work, you know, slowly, thoughtfully, you can't go wrong. You have a big, you know, color that didn't work, you can, you know, just blot gently with a paper towel to pick up the color. And another way you could do it is you can just take plain water and just work in the area to lift up the color, almost like mop it off, instead of just avoid rubbing into the painting. I'm gonna work on this some more a little bit later and show it to you next week. And I would also like to see yours finished. If you get around doing it, you can send it to me, or maybe we can start doing a quick kind of, you know, show and tell at the beginning of class. And that is it. I think we are out of time. Melissa?
That's been.
I have a question about the Zoom.
Gotta get off of this.
Yeah, can we do that Zoom question maybe later? Let's just keep it to art related because we're out of time and we might get cut off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'm gonna get some brown paint and start over with mine and see what I can do.
Okay. Anyone else? Any thoughts, observations? Are you happy with your work?
I just wanted to say that I, for one, have a terrible time seeing. I would love to be able to see in the corner of half of my screen the actual item from which you are working. Is there any way, Melissa, we can do anything like that?
So, I mean, as you saw, I can do this where it shows the image,
Oh, take a picture.
but then we can't see what
Right.
Joelle is teaching.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Jerry, I think the best thing
here, take a picture of this one.
is have it on another device.
You don't mind.
This way, because it's not going to be that clear if you print it out. I mean, most of us have professional printers, like what we print when we do the class. I mean, that's a very heavy industrial. So I think the best thing is to have it on your phone or on your computer screen, like just another device that you are not that you're not using.
Absolutely. The problem is I never got it. The problem
Yeah.
today. We'll work on it. Thank you.
So is everyone RSVPing to Justin? Because, and so when you got the link to the meeting today, the image wasn't with it?
No.
I didn't get any. I didn't get any. They said that there's
Oh wait, a link for
on.
One at a time. I can't understand. Go ahead.
Saying
Yes.
it's still going on with Justin's email. Justin email.
Okay, so if I can just say something real quick, what we've been trying to do is we're kind of giving you a heads up during the week to what we're going to be doing so you can prepare supplies. So typically we'll be getting 2 emails. You will get one telling you what we're going to be doing, and then you get a second one that will have the Zoom link in it so you can join the class. We will talk about a way to maybe make it into one, but I don't think we will have like both ready at the same time. We'll talk about that. Right.
May I just ask one question? Was the image from Justin?
Yes.
An email Justin? Okay, I never received it. Okay, thank you.
From Justin. So
I got it. I got it.
They said there was a scam going on with Justin.
Yeah, there he's been.
If you are participating in the class and you've RSVP'd and you got a link and it didn't have an image, or you didn't get a link, Justin's on his email like 24 hours a day.
Right.
Yes.
So just shoot him, even if it's 30 or 45 minutes before the class, more than likely, if you haven't received it, send him a message and he'll more than likely respond, or send me a message. I'm constantly on my email as well, so we can make sure that before the class it's taken care of.
So are most of you happy with what you've done today? I know it wasn't a lot of time, you know, but to have a lot of detail to them. But I just wanted to give you something that kind of just, you know, get you started, and hopefully you have enough information to move forward. Does anyone have any questions that you think you have in order to take this a little bit further?
Well, I have one request. I request that when you're using a brush, show it to us real carefully so we can see the size, and you tell us which number it is and all that, or if it's large or medium. For me, I think that would be useful.
Okay, that's a good point. I mean, the reason I'm not doing that is I don't want anyone to have to go and buy, you know, supplies. We can really work with anything, you know. It's, I mean, unless you're using, you know, like these, you know, 2 different sizes, you know, really big, really small. It's not going to make that much of a difference. And, you know, you will see that you will start getting more comfortable with a certain brush. Honestly, there's certain sizes that I maybe have 10 of, and sizes that I've never bought. So
yeah.
I try not to get too technical because I really want everyone to develop their own, you know, sets.
Yeah.
But I'm always happy to suggest, you know. So any questions about the sunflower, about the colors? Was that useful using the warm
I
colors?
didn't do that well.
Sorry? Andre?
Yes, you said how would you, the sunflower said I didn't do that well.
Can I see?
I enjoy it, but it is the first time that I'm painting on a board. You know, it's
Yeah.
not flat. It's up on
Yeah.
easel. It's the
Yeah,
first time, so it's a little bit difficult for me. But
I know the only I'm doing it on an easel is that it's easier for everyone to see, but I do recommend that you work flat for watercolors because they're dripping. Yes. You just want it flat or maybe at a slight angle so you can kind of just see what you're doing. One also important thing is that when you are working on a painting, make sure that you take breaks, make sure that you look at it from a distance, show it to someone. I like to take pictures with my phone, and that way, you know, I take it out of the environment and I just kind of look at it, and when it's reduced in size, it's much easier to kind of see if something is skewing or something is missing or something is too strong or too distracting. Can I see everyone's sunflowers? My lovely sunflowers. Melissa, I want to see yours.
I wasn't able to do one today. My children did not allow for it.
Mom.
Put them so. If you're trying to see everyone's, just scroll on gallery view and you can see everyone's.
Scroll.
You just swipe to the right and the left, Mom.
I got it. Great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Wow.
And this
Sorry,
is being recorded so that we can listen to it again.
Yes.
If we want, right? Yeah, because I'm gonna get some brown and do mine over and see what.
Noel, Kina, that looks great. I like that they're so different. So that and my niece, and they're sitting next to each other painting, and each one is completely different. And I love seeing that. That is really proof that you are taking the instructions, the tips, and you're making them your own. That's what matters. I mean, what I try to do here is just really just kind of just open your eyes to things, but it's going to be your vision and your interpretation. So all right, great.
Sharon. Nice, Sharon. I see
Thank
it.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. It doesn't
Very
look as good in person as it does on the screen.
That's fine.
And I love that you did it.
I'm glad. You're welcome. You're welcome.
It occupying the space. I think everyone did a great job. If you have any questions or if you need more guidance, I'm happy to do that. And just remember that the amount of time that we had, it's really, really hard to have anything, you know, that looks very, very finished. And like I told you, I will work a little bit more on it. And, you know, like I was saying, one of the kind of fun things to do, especially with something like a sunflower, is maybe an ink, cross hatching, some stippling, just to play around with it a little bit. It was great seeing everyone, and we will figure out how to make this a little bit more seamless with the emails and the images, and you know, we're trying to figure it out as we go. But your feedback is important, and I love seeing you, even if it's, you know, through a computer screen. I miss everyone so much, and I hope you are well. Keep me posted on what you're painting.